All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Leadership, Ethics, and Organization. Today's interview is with Kara from Autonomy. She's an amazing lady that does a lot of good things. But before we do that, let me read a little bit about what we're trying to do here. So our mission is to showcase talented and principled people and individuals that possess skills and experience and knowledge in these areas of leadership, ethics, and organization. Areas that most entrepreneurs and business people have a limited understanding of. They have possibly contradictory information on or false or limiting beliefs about. We also discuss pertinent topics and allow those pursuing knowledge an opportunity to gain awareness and ask questions. Leadership, ethics, and organization are not areas for authorities to command from, but simply roles and responsibilities that need to be addressed by individuals, groups, and enterprises. And Kara, you are certainly the embodiment of that last statement. I've got to know you. We're fellow students and graduates of Autonomy, and you've shown yourself to be an exemplary person, and certainly a leader amongst that group of people. But let's let our audience know a little bit about you. Who are you, Kara?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for the introduction. Well, I'm Kara, as you may have guessed. I'm all sorts of things. I'm a writer. I'm an avid reader. I am a freelancer. I am a seeker of knowledge and truth. I am also a copywriting team captain for Autonomy Unlimited and have been just absolutely loving my role in that area. It's really been helping me blossom into new areas and see new areas of myself that I didn't even know were there. And man, coming into Autonomy has just been the most life-changing experience that I can't stress the benefits enough.
Yeah, well, you have definitely blossomed, and I recall having a little meeting with you, and you were kind of explaining that you had like a waitressing job, and but you couldn't like let go of it because you didn't have the faith in yourself. But I can't imagine. I mean, because as far as I'm concerned, I think you might be one of the best copywriters with Agnieszka as well, but probably one of the best copywriters I know of. And as I'm getting to know more about it, the more I am just awed by what you can do with, the turn of a word. Where did that skill come from? Was that something you just love to do, or what?
Well, writing in words has really been my passion for as long as I can remember. I mean, I wrote my first story in third grade. My dad did the illustrations for it, but it just kind of started from there. And, in high school, I nearly failed out of high school because I was skipping classes to go hide in the girls' bathroom and write. So,
Wow.
but
Nice.
I remember in my teens, because this was my biggest passion, was writing and creating these stories. I mean, glimpse into me, I used to write little vampire novels, and I've done poetry and stuff too, but that was my big thing, was writing these vampire stories. And
Nice.
I remember this point, it's getting to be later in high school, and everybody's talking about what do they want to do when they grow up and after school, and I never had any big aspirations as far as like career and stuff. I mean, I just wanted to write. I wanted to make my life story worthy. And I remember this moment with one of my parents, and then this happened with a teacher as well, of talking about my passion. And I remember being told at the time, and this was, early 2000s, that writing wasn't a feasible career choice, that I wouldn't make any money from it. And this was a big turning point for me, because I had this really epic moment where I said, so my grand purpose on this life, on this planet, in this life, is just to make money. It didn't sit right with me, did not compute with me. And so I just kind of went off in an adventure. I mean, when I graduated high school, I had dreadlocks, and I put my life into a backpack and kind of hopped on a train and started, just moving around and meeting people. And that really was my goal. As I said, I just want to make my life story worthy. And,
Nice.
you know how the decade of the 20s can be. Definitely, lost myself in poor relationships and bad habits. And I was waitressing, as you mentioned. So I was a waitress for 11 years, actually just until recently this year. I liked it at the time because I love people. I love engaging with people. And with the tips, I didn't have to work long hours in order to get by. So I was able to work these small bits of hours, make enough money to, just live comfortably and be able to, pursue my passions, to be able to write on the side for myself and, just have fun and enjoy life. Well, I got married in 2017, and that was really when, we started talking and all right, what's the next phase? Well, we want to start a family. And I was like, well, I can't be waitressing full time and expect to want to stay home. I mean, I'm, not a fan of public schooling. I intend on homeschooling. So I was like, well, I need to find a way that I can stay home and still pull my weight and still contribute. And then I met Sir Joshua Hale. And he has been an incredible friend and influence in my life. He really, when we both live in Bellingham, Washington, and when we first met, we met through this larger organization that's actually their aim is to create a world without money. So resource-based economy and these kinds of ideas. And that's how we met. And we started bouncing around ideas and coming up with, some community projects that we could do. And we just clicked right away. And he had his own social media marketing business. And he was the one to encourage me and say, hey, you have these writing skills. There's more that you can do with them. And that's when I just kind of started learning on the job. I mean, a lot of what I've learned has been by experience. So I didn't go through any big schooling. I didn't go through, a whole bunch of training. I did a lot of stuff just kind of learning as I go. And so I guess some of that was intuitive, but the world of marketing was so out of my realm of existence. And, like most people, I had thought of marketing left a really bad taste in my mouth because I only saw it as these manipulative tactics, as, these things that are just meant to stab at people's pain points. And I didn't like it. But what I've discovered, like with just learning copywriting and then evolving into Autonomy Unlimited, is seeing this opportunity to help people and see this opportunity to help really inspired individuals and businesses and really amazing projects communicate their message to the right audience. And, I'm a Pearl personality. That's definitely my dominant driving force, is helping others. And I've definitely allowed myself to get walked on once or twice, but it's such a core value to me of being in service to others. Maybe that's part of why I also enjoyed it being a waitress, a server for so many years. So since getting this new perspective and seeing this other side to marketing that I never knew existed, it's been so transformational. And I feel like I've really found my purpose. I never thought that I would be in marketing. I never even thought I'd be, a copywriter. In the realm of writing, I said, I definitely want to publish a book someday. I want to contribute, but I didn't want that area of my creativity to be a source of income. I really wanted that to be just for me, or, or for others out there. I didn't want my livelihood to depend on it. So this has given me so much purpose in my life. And now I can't see going in any other direction.
Yeah, maybe we should talk a little bit about copywriting and what it is, because I know there's a lot of confusion about that. But tell us a little bit about what copywriting is and why everybody needs copywriting.
Definitely. So, when most people think of the word copywriting, they think of copyright, like RIGHT, and trademarks and stuff. And what we're talking about is WRITE, copywriting. And so writing copy is really, it's kind of like sales in print. It's crafting a message with a specific outcome in mind. So you're trying to, deliver value. You're really trying to just communicate your message. And it's sales in print, essentially.
Yeah, and every business needs to be able to bridge that gap between their solution and the person that needs, or the customer that needs that solution for the problem that they have. So to me, and honestly, I feel like learning from you, and in just the past few weeks, you've put on these copywriting clinics that have really changed my perception of what this is all about and how useful this is, and how incredible it is for businesses to have that ability to build the bridge between the people that need problem solved and the solutions. And it's just such a beautiful thing. Let's get into leadership. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. What's your point of view on leadership, and is it, obviously you're a team leader for the copywriting team in Autonomy Unlimited, but what do you look at, or what do you think about are the primary things in regard to leadership?
Yeah, well, when you say like a team leader, that I really want to emphasize that word team, because as a leader, it's not me telling you what to do. I'm offering myself as a guide. I'm saying, I may have a little bit more experience and knowledge than you have. So how can I use that to help you move along in your goals? So I look as leadership as really a team effort. I really try to stay interactive. I really encourage feedback. A lot of the stuff that we've been building in Autonomy Unlimited, we're kind of building it as we go. And so this isn't something for just me to decide, this is a structure, this is exactly how things are going to go. I invite feedback. I invite that team element so that we can build something great together. And, if I'm the one that's just kind of being the facilitator, keeping things on track and doing the delegating, that's fantastic. But I can't be a leader without a team.
Yeah. Yeah, and you do such an exceptional job of it. I really feel like you are leading the way and really kind of demonstrating how this stuff gets done, or how people get themselves involved. Because I think the fact that you're like teaching copywriting and giving people the opportunity to learn more about copywriting is really kind of creating the opportunity for people to understand how that's useful, and then how that might how they might fit into that. Because as I've experienced this, like the way that you go about doing it, in me participating in it, it's like, oh, I've got some valuable things that I could contribute to this. And then as that uh, contribution evolves, as other people then see it, and we mix it together, and then we come out with something that's incredible.
Yeah.
It is really awesome. Okay, so let's move on to ethics. So how do you view ethics, and what is that for you?
Ethics to me, I really see it as parallel to integrity. Especially when it comes to business and leadership. It's staying true to myself, staying true to the business, like integrity, doing what I say I'm going to do when I say I'm going to do it, and acting in line with my values. Everything that I do, I want to keep those values in mind. And that's what comes to my mind when I think of ethics.
Now, in regard to autonomy versus some of the other jobs that you've held over the years, what's the difference in the way the ethics are applied in autonomy, or Autonomy Unlimited, versus the other experiences that you had?
Oh man, definitely communication is a huge one. I've worked with some other digital marketing companies where the communication was very, very small, very unclear, very short and brisk. Um, and along with that, of the really seeing the values and the differing values, seeing where, some of these companies where, their main goal is just to make profit, and any means necessary. You know, I didn't feel valued. I felt like I didn't feel secure in my job. I was constantly questioning myself and questioning my worth. And, you know, moving into Autonomy Unlimited, the communication is so open. You know, if there's something going on in my life, or anyone's life, like there's no hesitation to speak out and let it be known. And I'm always met with understanding. I'm met with integrity in everything I do in Autonomy Unlimited. And it's been such a rewarding experience moving into this.
Awesome. Now, the third element is organization. And this is really kind of the area that and it's certainly with Autonomy Unlimited, the fact that we're kind of, trying to create a peer-to-peer organization where everybody essentially feels like they're a contributing factor to the overall success. But that is one in which, again, you're kind of excelling at, showing the way to how that works to get, like, how do people work together? How does work get done? How do we do that with, like being peers? How do you feel about all that? And what are your major inclinations?
Well, you know, like you mentioned, the collaboration, and you know, that's especially in this area of copywriting where there's so much room for creativity and, you know, unique ingenuity, just so many things that come into play. And so it's like, you know, you said with us coming together and all being able to contribute our ideas, whether or not you have experience in copywriting, because you have insights that I don't have. You have ideas that I don't have, and being able to hear that and bring it all in together, and create something magical out of that is just incredible. And I think that we've created things that I could have never done on my own. The 19 skills PDF that we just created for Autonomy. If I'm so, you know, I'm so glad with how that went, because we were able to take a whole group of copywriting apprentices and everyone to take their own unique perspective on what they've learned in Autonomy, bringing their own unique voice to the project. And we created something really incredible. I'm really proud of how that turned out. And if that had just been me, just working on that on my own, I don't think it would have turned out near as fantastic as it did.
Yeah, it is quite a tribute to, everything that's going on about autonomy is really kind of a tribute to what we're able to do. I think it all speaks well for the amount of talent, and then also the integrity of the people, the ethics that they're holding valuable, and then the creativity. It is really awesome. But to me, like the 19th essential skills that you don't get from school, those, like that particular thing, is an offer. It is almost a gesture of goodwill that is providing value to the people that take that opportunity to look into what that actually is. And to me, that was a discovery that I had at the first clinic, the copywriting clinic that you were putting on, is that, oh man, this is so valuable. And even Agnieszka, maybe she can chime in on this one, but the idea of kind of creating um, an opportunity for people to trust and start that relationship with something that you can trust, that I'm going to provide you with something valuable. Here you go. And then, oh wow, this is valuable, and then how do we go from there? How do we keep that relationship moving with trust? And certainly to me, that's kind of an ethical component to what you're doing. But let's talk a little bit about that. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, and you know, that providing value is the number one goal. If we get somebody to sign up for Autonomy, if we get someone to take the next step, that's fantastic. But that's not the number one goal. The number one goal is just to provide value to others. And I'm glad, you know, the copywriting clinic has been an amazing step. And I've been so grateful to Agnieszka for helping get this going and how it's been evolving, because this was a big missing piece in Autonomy Unlimited. We had people coming in, we had apprentices, people really interested in learning and getting on projects, but there was a gap. There was a huge gap between coming in fresh to these tools and ideas, and then we have projects, and we can't just hand off a project to somebody brand new, not because they'll do a bad job, but because they have no direction yet. There's a gap. And so with the copywriting clinic, we've been able to kind of set this foundation and start some real training and practice and give the opportunity to learn hands-on so that you can feel confident in taking on projects. And since it started, we've had more apprentices coming in, more people are getting more excited and more active. And then I am, of course, just happy and excited to have more people that I can count on to help me out with projects. You know, there's definitely more than I can handle on my own. So getting people in the game and just working with the apprentices in itself has been a really fulfilling experience.
And also what a great way of experiencing, like, you know, as an apprentice coming into Autonomy and having a real life project to work on right away. Like, you know, it's what apprentices in corporations dream of, you know, and they have to shred papers or stupid stuff. Whereas here apprentices are coming right in and going to work at real life projects. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and coming into a project without anything to base it off of, you know, any skills to back behind it can be really daunting. And that's really intimidating. And so at the clinic, we've really been able to bridge this gap and get more excitement and enthusiasm and just be able to share more knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's really a beautiful approach to kind of integrating people into the environment, into the culture, and really kind of set their expectations about what this is and what it means and what they're supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. And so, like, you're creating, to me, it seems like, you know, by being the teacher, you're also really kind of enhancing your own skills, but by demonstrating them and leading people through it, you're really, you know, I think really demonstrating like the beauty that you see in what you do and how you do it so well. And we as students get to, like, you know, really kind of see the energy that you're bringing and how much excitement it is for you and you know, like that love of writing. I tell you, I used to love to write when I was probably in, you know, 3rd or 4th grade, and they beat that out of me. And you know, I had always kind of envisioned myself as being someone that would write books and stuff like that. But it's been, you know, it's been so difficult to kind of discipline myself. And it seems like it, you know, I guess there's all that, you know, programming that the institutions have put into me that it's like, oh man, writing is such a pain in the butt. And, you know, making sure the grammar is right. And, oh, do I put how many sentences? Oh, I've got too many sentences. My paragraph is screwed up, you know, so all that kind of stuff, you know, it just, hell with it, you know, whereas I'm actually like loving writing because you're showing me the way to, like, oh, this, don't even worry about the other stuff. Just express your ideas, you know? So it's amazing. Agnieszka, you want to say something on that? And, you know, honestly, I want you to get a comment on the trust part of that relationship that copywriting is creating.
Well, it's not just copywriting, it's marketing. And it's not just marketing, it's life. Basically, like, everything is marketing. Like, if you're going down to the baker and you're buying some bread, you know, there's some kind of marketing going on. You might get 2 loaves if you're nice to him, or, you know, if you really praise his sourdough buns, he might throw one in with your bread. It really depends how you present it. If you walk into the baker's all grouchy, he's not going to give you the 20% discount he gives everybody else. He's not going to throw in the extra sour bap. He's just not going to do it, right? And then, you know, it goes through every experience that we have when we're talking to the girl that you want to ask out, right? You're asking her for her phone number. That's marketing. And that's where the trust comes in, because if the girl doesn't know you, say you meet her on the bus stop, whatever, she's never seen you there before, she may not give you her number. But if she sees you on the bus stop every day for a week, or, you know, few weeks, whatever, then suddenly, oh, wow, okay, I know this guy takes this bus to work. So I know something about him. I have an association with him. I have some trust for him. And so that's what an email marketing thing does too, right? They come in, the emails come in, and then you become familiar with the name, you become familiar with the concept of the company. Okay, that's the 1,000 spools, the battered thread company for my sewing machine. Okay, cool, right. Oh yeah, they have some silk thread. Ooh, it's expensive, never mind. And the sixth time, then they give you, oh, the silk thread that you were looking at is now 20% off. Oh, I better buy that silk thread now. And it's a stupid thing. It's a thread company, but I would have to build up trust to buy their silk thread. I wouldn't buy it the first time I just see it. And
There's
same with the grill.
There's a lot of noise to break through. We're in such this like busy, crowded world, online and offline. That's a lot to compete with. It's like whispering in a rock concert and trying to get someone's attention. So, and that is, how do you, so and not only is there all of this noise, all of this crowdedness, but everyone's reasonably skeptical when it comes to marketing. Everyone's kind of on guard. There's a lot of risk. And so how can you develop the trust that's necessary for those guards to come down?
Well, that's because marketing often stands for lying.
Yes.
Or in people's minds it does. And the marketing director is the director that is least trusted in the company. Did you guys know that? Sad. But marketing is everything. And I think it's the greatest sin of our society, or the greatest downfall of our society, where they don't explain to you how sales is everything you do, how whether you get out of that class with an A or an F, it depends on how you sell the boss or the teacher, the boss of the class, the teacher on your skills, and how you whether you get a promotion, it's how you sell the boss on your skills. I've seen some idiots go, get promotions above me. Why? Well, because I'm belligerent, and they weren't. They knew how to sell themselves better, right? I would be like, no, this is wrong. And they would be like, whatever you say, boss.
So what would you say is the ultimate goal of marketing then, in regard to, like, when you're putting together a program, what are you trying to do? You're trying to find the person that absolutely needs the solution that you're trying to put in front of them, right? Or what would be better words for that?
Most marketing would probably show the message to a great number of an audience, and then we would hope that some of them need that solution, right? So if I'm selling, no, I was going to say teeth whitening, but I wouldn't sell teeth whitening because that's just too trite for words. But okay, I'm selling an anger course. One of my clients, she made a 7 steps to dissolve anger course, right? So I'm selling this valuable product, and I will reach out or put a Facebook ad or something to people who may have that issue, who may have troubled teens, who may have, children with disorders, ADHD, or maybe, other disorders that might cause them frustration and inability to communicate what they want. And then the anger may come up, and that anger can be solved with this wonderful course that this woman created. So, I mean, that's the kind of people that I would want to work with. I wouldn't work with, I remember one time the customer called me and he wanted me to work for him, and he said he does poker online. I was like, okay, poker online. He's like, yeah. So what we want to do, we want to find the people who are already addicted to poker, who already play it for more than 4 hours a day. And we want to put that ad in front of those faces. And I said, no, thank you. Because even though there's nothing inherently wrong with poker, and I can sit at a poker game at my friend's house and have a good time, I will not try to get people who spend 4 hours a day on poker to play more poker. That's not all right. If it was milk, it would be the same thing, If you're already drinking 4 hours a day of milk, you don't need more milk.
Yeah, I think of, when I'm thinking about the clients that I work with and that I want to continue working with, I see this balance between two things, and that's intention and value. And so it's the intention behind what they're offering, there's our personal intentions. Yes, we want to put food on the table. We want to provide for our families. But then there's this other side of this, of value, and the other side of intention of wanting to provide value and make a difference in the world. And those are the people that I strive to work with all the time, because that's what I believe in. You know, when I first came, you know, before Autonomy, before meeting Joshua, you know, when I thought of marketing, I thought of big wigs in their suits, and all I thought of was, you know, just that capitalism driven mentality. And again, that was so far out of my realm of existence that I couldn't see myself ever touching that. But moving into this area and this arena and seeing this as an opportunity to support incredible projects that really make a difference in people's lives and help them get it out to the people that need it most. And that's what gives me drive. That's what gives me purpose in this work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe let's talk a little bit about like what are the keys to actually catching people's attention when it comes to, you know, because I think, you know, one of the things that I feel like this is, you know, the experience that Autonomy brings, so for the students, but as well as the business that Autonomy Unlimited is trying to address, is like, you know, we want, it is so valuable for the people that are really trying to be good entrepreneurs, that are trying to actually like help their community be, you know, better and deliver real value. But how is that accomplished? Like, what are the things that you look to um, that like bring people's attention, right? And then like what are the things that you want to, I don't know, like what are the
Yeah.
things that you want to bring out of people?
Yeah, well, you know, to capture someone's attention, you have to have at least some of an understanding of what's going on in their head and in their world. And so that starts with research, you know, and with our own businesses and our own projects, you know, we can think that we know our audience to the nth degree, but you might not. And there's a lot of opportunity for growth and learning in yourself. So really it takes research, really finding out like, what are their pains? What are their challenges? What are their hopes and dreams and desires? What do they want out of life? And that's where you can use this insight and build, you know, you have your own business, you have your project that you want to get out to the world. So capturing their attention and gaining that trust is by providing value with something like a lead magnet or an offer. So crafting that offer based around exactly what they're looking for, really speaking to what's going on in their head. And that's how you capture people's attention. Have more to add to that, Agnieszka?
Well, I'm so glad you went first, because my answer is so much more curmudgeon than that.
We'll balance it out. Let's hear it.
So, seeing as we live practically in idiocracy and most people walk around completely stupefied, what you have to do is you have to have a little hammer and you have to crack the veneer of stupefaction from their faces, right? So once there's a small crack in the enclosure that closes their mind from the outside world, and they actually see something other than whatever they're already looking on their scrying device, their scrying mirror that they carry around with them, looking at everywhere they go, right? But you're getting through the scrying device, so you have a plus there, right? You're coming from the phone, so that's good. So then you have to crack the veneer of stupefaction and breathe fresh air underneath, just a little bit, just enough for them to wake up. And you have about 2 seconds to wake them up, and then you have about, you know, like a 20% chance of actually succeeding. Statistically speaking, those are actual statistics from actual clients. So 20% chance, and you know, out of those 20%, 1% will actually act on it and look at for more information. Am I using real statistics? Yes, I am. These are not even made up.
But honestly, it looks to me like, and just kind of viewing some of the early testing that we're doing, we're actually doing a lot better than that. So that to me says either we've selected the audience correctly, we've done the research, and there's other things that are going into play that are that could like sway from what we think is like the average to, oh man, this you guys are doing something much more effective. But you know, the other thing I was going to say is like so much is driven by fear these days. And like that's the motivation to get everybody to do stuff is, oh, well, it's, if you don't do this, something's going to happen. Your house is going to fall down. Somebody's going to burn it down, or all that kind of stuff. How do you motivate people to take action without fear?
I like to motivate with passion. What are your passion points instead of your pain points? I think it's necessary to touch upon people's challenges and, to touch upon those pain points. But I think it's very, very possible, more than possible, it's being done, of being able to get someone to take action based on something other than fear and other than pain. I don't think that we need to be stabbing at people's pain points in order to get them to take action. I think people are more motivated by inspiration, by, aspiration, what's possible out there. I think that that's a more motivating factor, especially for the kind of people that we're trying to attract. That's another aspect of this. There's a lot of, industries out there where, well, guess what? The only way that they get conversions is to focus on fear and to promote fear and focus on pain points. But that's not what we do in autonomy. That's not where our integrity lies. It's not where our values lie. No. My side business.
Wouldn't that be like cracking the veneer of stupefaction and breathing foul air into it instead of fresh air?
I love your analogies. I love them.
I'm not sure if it's actually cracking the mirror of stupefaction. It might be actually enhancing
the plastic coating. It's not that, then what?
Well, honestly, I feel like it is a breath of fresh air what you guys are bringing to the table, because it's like everybody else is doing this. Everybody else says this is the way it needs to be done. Everybody else says people have got a attention span of a gnat, and there's no hope for them. Well,
but rather than focusing on what you're going to lose, focus on what can you get? What's possible? It just brings an entirely different energy to marketing.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that as you guys develop a strategy that essentially delivers value to people, and then gets them to because there's a lot of things out there in the world that are, certainly when it comes to online marketing, there's all these little schemes and tricks and everything else that people use to get people's attention. And to some degree, we've got to use those same tricks, or techniques, I guess would be a better word for it. But the bottom line is that we're trying to do something that's, trustworthy, that is significantly different from what is the average marketing campaign when it comes to the rest of the world and the multinationals and the all that other. We're doing something different, and it certainly brings value. So it is that sweet spot of being incredibly unique, but also incredibly valuable. And boy, I tell you, that's something that small businesses and entrepreneurs that are in today's world, oh man, they need that big time.
They do. They really do.
Smoke, more pink smoke.
Yes.
Everybody thought the pink smoke wouldn't work, and then it scored pretty high in an ad. So,
and maybe you need to explain that a little bit. But the pink smoke. Is anybody going to know what you're talking about?
It was an ad. You maybe tell it better than I do.
It was an ad that was a video ad that was created, and at the very end, they had this effect with this pink smoke coming up, and I don't remember exactly.
It was a girl on a scooter, and pink smoke was coming out of her back wheels.
Mm-hmm. And
riding off into the sunset with pink smoke.
And it just kind of became this big joke in the Autonomy Unlimited community of the pink smoke, because it was something, it's like it got I think it got removed, or someone thought it got removed, but then it wasn't. And I don't know, there was just all these jokes, and now we tell jokes about the pink smoke all the time. It was just a funny looking thing.
But
In the
in my
video.
analogy, pink smoke is a positive thing. It doesn't scare you. It doesn't show you your pain. It's just pink smoke from a girl's scooter, and people actually liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's another thing that I think you guys are kind of approaching is things that really kind of stir the imagination or create curiosity that gets people to maybe look a little bit harder at what it is that you're offering. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I know when I first started copywriting, I was very much like a color in the lines type of girl, and it was definitely, I didn't take a lot of chances. I mean, oh man, if I look back a few years ago to some of the advertisements that I wrote, I mean, I would just be cringing so much with myself right now. They're just bland, generic stuff that's just all been heard before, and you really gotta live on the edge with today's copywriting.
So
You gotta be bold.
How did you transition from being a waitress or server to being a copywriter? It was over years.
Yeah, well, I was, up until this year, I was waitressing for 11 years. I had hit my 11-year mark. For the past, so I started copywriting in 2017, and it just kind of became this gradual, started over time, taking a day off of my waitress schedule, and just kind of started moving along. And it was really moving really slow. And I took this other course early last year, I want to say, but before Autonomy, that I thought that it was going to be the course that was going to like put my foot on the gas pedal and propel me forward. And while I did get some value out of the course, everything, it didn't really do a whole lot for me. I was blessed that I kind of got a free ride through it. So, no regrets. I definitely got some value from it, but didn't have the results that I was hoping for. Autonomy changed all that. So when I started the Autonomy course, I was still working about 4 days a week at waitressing and just getting some, a few hours here and there, copywriting when I could. And Autonomy gave me what I needed to eliminate as much as possible, eliminate my self-doubt. I know that my self-doubt was such a huge factor holding me back. And I was like, can I actually make money doing this? Can I, and all this fear of, this is my security blanket. I've been doing the waitressing for so many years, and it's familiar and it's reliable. So it was, it was hard to transition out of that. But Autonomy, it really did. It gave me the encouragement and the confidence that I needed to continue moving forward. And, just within a few months, I was down to only working 1 day a week at the restaurant. And I held on to that thing. I held on to that for months, just still keeping my foot in the door, still worried, oh no, what if things all crash and burn? And I still want to make sure I have this safety net. And then COVID happened. And lovely COVID was the kick that I needed to just be like, I'm done. No more waitressing for me. Right when, it was before lockdown started, and just things were getting a little weird. And I just said, you know what? Any hours that you have, give them to the people that need it. I'll be okay. And back in March, I was able to just say, take me off the books. I'm done. And I'm so, so glad that I did.
So are we.
But you quit just before COVID for some reason. I was like, yeah, she's so smart.
I was still holding on to that 1 day a week.
So, every business has their unique customer that is like the perfect customer. And we kind of went through an exercise with this the other day in the clinic. But what is the perfect customer for Autonomy?
For the Autonomy course or for Autonomy Unlimited?
Yeah, we'll go with the Autonomy course.
Oh man, there's so many answers. that I could come up
Somebody
with
who
for
is
that.
willing to look at deeply at their own self and step into their power.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's ready to step up, who's not going to drag. Although I dragged because I was already more advanced than everybody when I started. And so I kind of like sat around for a year and waited and observed and moved and all that. And then only now I'm just going, okay, let's see what more I can do with myself, you know, stepping into that bigger picture.
When you said willingness, and I think that that really encompasses a lot, you know, it's being willing to not only look at yourself, but being willing to shed your excuses, being willing to really like give yourself what you need. And I mean, we say this on the website, but it's very true. Give yourself what you need to live at a higher level. And that takes willingness. You know, it takes willingness, and it takes motivation, takes inspiration.
And
There's
that
a lot.
mastery attitude where you're open to everything, you know, where they say the student thinks they know, but the master knows that they don't know. So they have an open mind to every single possibility. That masterful attitude, that's what I think is necessary for somebody to not wash out in autonomy.
Absolutely.
Basically.
Absolutely.
Well, that's also another thing that I've found in regard to autonomy is kind of qualifying your customer, you know, as well. It's not just, it's just not a one-way thing where, okay, you brought the money, here you go. It's actually, well, you know, I'm not going to take your money because, you know, for whatever reason, you're just not right for this. Or
Mm-hmm.
let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what are the things that you know that kind of make it so much different, so that like it is a relationship where we're trying to create an environment that is that like learning environment where people are really getting the most that they could possibly get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, thinking about those people that are not a good fit for the course, I mean, are really, yeah, those ones that are not willing to step up, are stuck
Whiny,
in,
wishy-washy.
yeah, stuck in their story. That's a really big one, stuck in their excuses. So there, I keep saying the word, but that willingness, it
So I was talking to this person today on this other server, right? And they asked me, so in your experience, it would be easier by going through the course to become a freelancer? Would it be easier? What do you guys think? Like, can we answer her question right now? I think it's a her. I'm actually not sure if it's a her. I thought it was a guy
Okay.
at first, and then I think it's a girl. So anyway, nine's question.
I think so. I absolutely think so, because it's more than learning the skills and learning, you know, what these tools are. It's a mindset. And so much of the autonomy course is shedding those old patterns and shedding those mindsets that are really destructive to us and hold us back.
Yeah.
So because you
Yeah.
said you were a freelancer for years and you weren't really like moving, and suddenly autonomy gave you a kick in the bum and a motor with pink smoke.
Yeah, the community was a huge part of that. The community and the encouragement.
Unexpected benefit.
And you know, Rich's lectures, they're so inspiring. I would just like it, you know, gosh, it'd be like for me, like 1 a.m, and I'm just like super jazzed and like, yes, all right, I want to do something now. This, you know, he just pumps you up in a way that
for him, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning and he's still going strong. It's
I know, I got it easier over here.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely better to be on the West Coast than the East Coast, huh? When it comes to the lessons.
Like Jim
No.
Wood in Hawaii, they really got it made.
Well, you can always listen to the replays, and the Sunday one is good for everybody. But yeah, I think, like, you know, I really think that it gives you huge turbo boost. Like the success that you could make without it. Like even say, okay, so the choice between this for this person is, okay, this person wants to become a freelancer, right? So there's 2 paths. One, autonomy, taking the 12-week course, going through every single skill and basically every single class or every single lecture is like a year of school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like going through the elementary school and learning everything that we missed in the first 12 grades of our lifetime, right? And you get to the end of the 12 weeks, and then there are 3 bonus weeks, and then you're like actually graduated from like the elementary school that you should have gone to but didn't. And so everything becomes easier. Reading the news becomes easier because you have the rational thinking that's practiced at such a high level that you can really discern information as it comes in. You know, delegating tasks becomes easier because you learn how to work in a group. You know, creating marketing materials becomes easier because there are huge lectures about it. You know, understanding the difference between a lead magnet and an email automation, huge for somebody who's a freelancer, no matter what aspect of it you do. There are lectures for that. So I think it's invaluable, even for me as an experienced freelancer, and I was already making the money that I sort of like felt like making at the time. I still got tremendous value, to the point that I'm sitting through the lecture for the 3rd time and not being bored, and giving up my Friday nights till 1 o'clock in the morning to listen to the lecture and the Q&A every Friday while the classes are in session.
Mm-hmm.
And not usually missing it, rarely having missed it, just because I find them so valuable that I would make plans for Saturday, not Friday, you know?
Yeah. You know, I had a decent grasp on, you know, the different tools, the different skills that's presented in Autonomy, that's, you know, presented in kind of more of a broad overview look. But what I really lacked was the mindset. And I can't tell you how much my own self-doubt just like had me tripping over myself constantly. And the scarcity mindset, oh my goodness, that was huge for me. And one of the, I think,
I'm just breaking through that now.
like, I think one of the biggest, for like my first like biggest takeaway when first going through the lectures was transforming the thought in my head from I can't afford that to how can I afford that? And just this
What do I
tiny
need
little
to do?
shift. Yeah, but just opening it up to like opening yourself up to possibilities. Right, similar timing. My old computer was like crashing and burning, and I'm like, my work is done on a computer. I need this
I'll never
for my work.
Again. My computer
But
got broken.
But I was like, you know, at first, you know, an old Kara would have just been immediately brick wall, like, I can't afford a new computer. I can't do it. And then I heard this lecture and I heard that idea of just turning it around. And I started to say like, okay, how can I afford that? Within days, a colleague had a computer that they wanted to sell, much better condition than mine, and offered to do a trade. And I was able to work off the amount of the computer. And this opportunity was just basically, you know, I want to say fell in my lap, but I was open to it.
That's a godsend. You're supposed to say godsend for that one. It falls in your lap from the sky.
It was, you know, and I've just been able to get out of my own way and like, just, yeah, let myself shine.
You know what's weird? Okay, so say you're playing a video game, right? And in the video game, you don't have enough gold. And immediately you're like, okay, so there are some woods. I could cut down some wood, go to the village, sell the wood, get some money, and buy the armor that I want, right? So in a video game, people have the wherewithal to go, how can I solve this problem? Here's my solution. I will take this solution, I'll apply it, and then I'll solve my problem, and I'll have what I want. But in real life, we're so conditioned to go, oh no, I only have this much money every month. I cannot have more. And you know what? Even though I was a freelancer for so many years, I only had this much money every month too. I made the same amount of money as a freelancer as I did in my regular job, because that's the amount of money I needed for a living. So I was never allowing myself to go past that. I would even self-sabotage to stop myself from going past that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That must have been the truth. I don't know. There was some weird ringing.
I think that means that it's time to go. But you know, honestly, I didn't want to make this about like autonomy or kind of a commercial for autonomy, but I think you know, it is a shared experience that we've all had. Kara, you're certainly demonstrating how much it's affected you, and certainly the ways that you're being the leader that is leading a portion of Autonomy Unlimited to delivering incredible value for clients and customers of Autonomy Unlimited. I guess we'll just wrap it up with a final statement. I hope this was useful for you. I certainly thank you for taking the time out to do the interview. But is there anything that that you'd like to say before we go?
I've really, really enjoyed this. And I think just like the last thought that I have swimming around in my brain is just encouraging people to share their gifts. You know, we just started doing this copywriting clinic a few weeks ago. I've never taught copywriting. I just know that I have these skills that I have learned. And so I'm figuring out how I can share them with others. So and teaching is how we best retain information. You retain about 90% of the information by teaching it to others. So I just encourage people to share what you got.
Essentially, that's what autonomy is. It's like one of those schools, like, village schools where everybody teaches everybody everything they know. And in the end, we'll all be geniuses.
And yeah. I'm learning all the time too. I've been learning from these copywriting clinics as well. So.
Me too.
Well, you do a great job at it. You're an excellent teacher, and the fact that you facilitated and you're so humble, it definitely is amazing. So thank you, Kara, so much for joining us tonight, and thank you everybody for watching, and we certainly appreciate your time and attention. Have a wonderful night or day or whatever it is, and take care, everybody.
Thanks.
That's a wrap.